All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Ari Lewis Show here on IsraelSportsAndNewsRadio.com. Also, this is going to hopefully be on YouTube channel, the Nation of Israel YouTube channel. We're excited everyone here is joining us. You can email us at arilewisShow@hotmail.com. We have a very exciting guest this evening. He is not just an author and a playwright, commentator for Fox and other great organizations out there. He is the author of many works such as Tame the Jew, Catch the Jew, and I Slept in Hitler's Bedroom.
So I'll correct you a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I sleep in Hitler's.
I sleep, yes.
In Hitler's room. It's Catch the Jew.
Catch the Jew.
The Taming of the Jew.
The Taming of the Jew. Okay, so
and some others, you know.
Yes.
Okay. And I am not a commentator on Fox News. I wrote one time an opinion piece for Fox News, but usually I write the most frequently. I write for the German paper Die Zeit.
Okay.
And I'm an author. My main publisher is a German publishing company called Surkamp.
Okay.
They are in Berlin. The other Jews that they publish are some people you might have familiarity with. Judith Butler.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Noam Chomsky or Chomsky, whatever you say it in England, I'm Chomsky. And this kind of Jews. So I'm the other Jews that they publish. And yes.
Well, one of the things I want to start was speaking about this, that I want to start by quoting the Howard Stern show back in the late 90s. Yeah. Because he had a game show called Guess Who's the Jew?
Yeah.
But people that called in could not be Jewish.
Yeah.
And he would say certain people out there and then say, okay, who's the Jew? And they would say, the callers would say very anti-Semitic things.
Yeah.
I don't think this person's Jewish because they like to give and Jews are stingy. I mean, really horrible things.
Yeah. Don't Jew me.
Yes. And Howard Stern would say, I hope all the Jews in America are paying attention to this because they may have thought that the world has changed, but it hasn't.
Yeah.
So I want to know, it's pretty obvious that anti-Semitism is still around. How come there are so many Jews that want to pretend that it's not so bad? What is your opinion about that?
I mean, Jews as a nation, as a people, for 2,000 years have been expelled, raped, killed, murdered, anything you want. So the Jews have been got used to it to some extent. And it's sad, and so you have different kind of Jews. I mean, you have the Jews who call themselves liberal. I don't think they are, but they call themselves liberal or progressive. I think they are more backward than progressive, and they spend their lifetime, they are committed like a Hassidic Jew, committed to God. They are committed to slandering Israel. Then you have the Jews who are afraid of the shadow. Are afraid so much is they basically hide. It's like you can see it. Like, for example, for me it was the most interesting thing was like traveling in Britain and see so many temples that would not have, so many synagogues would not have the name of the synagogue outside, and we have like huge fences to protect themselves. They are hiding.
Wow.
And they deny that there is anti-Semitism. Then they have the other Jews who are more proud to be Jewish. I mean, this kind you find more in the Hassidic world and in the Israeli world. But yes, I mean, anti-Semitism is a disease of humanity. It's coming up, it's showing up its ugly side today in countries like the United States and in quite many countries in Europe. It's originated, as far as I could tell, it originated 2,000 years ago with the development of Christianity, when the Jews did not accept Jesus' teaching or Paul teaching, whatever you want to call it. But in the beginning, there was a small group of Jews who followed Jesus, in the Galilee mainly or whatever it is. But the large majority, I mean, like 99% or whatever of the Jews did not follow Jesus and have not followed him to this day. But when Christianity became a state religion, it became like Jesus is not a Jew, but and this is a fight between the Jews and the Christians, kind of the right path to take. So when in the New Testament, when Jesus argues with the Jews, and he said to them stuff like, I speak in the name of my Father, the Father in heaven, and you speak in the name of your Father, the devil. At the time, it was two Jews talking, and Jews still talk like this even today, between the groups of them. Just go to the Knesset and see them screaming at each other, basically, Ben Caleb, you are the son of a wound, of a dog, and you are the son of a cat, So, I mean, the way they talk, I mean, it's totally embarrassing, but you can see it even today, But at the time, it was two Jews talking. But when Christianity developed and became a state religion, and through the 2,000 years, it became like a reality. We Christian talk in the name of our Father in heaven, and you Jews talk in the name of your father, the devil. So the Jews are the children of the devil, and the Jews are, money launderers, and all this kind of stuff, all based on certain element and certain verses in the New Testament. So at the time, were different, like when Jesus came to the temple in Jerusalem, and what did he see? He saw money changers on the steps leading to the temple. So at the time it was like a Jew fighting with a Jew, but then it became like a Christian fighting with the Jews. The Jews are money people, and we are righteous and nice, and the religion of mercy and love. So that's basically the way it happened. And today, in the world today, when Christianity is not as strong as it used to be, and many countries in Europe are already atheist, of no faith, but still the source of the culture is still there, so it's like an atheist Jew still likes to eat gefilte fish and kugel on Shabbat. You'll see them sometimes in Schenken in Tel Aviv. They don't believe in any God, but on Shabbat afternoon or morning, they have to eat shont, So, there are certain elements sometimes in every culture that stays. So those elements stayed. And that's basically what we are looking at. And the Jews, and some Jews, it rubbed off on some Jews. Some of them started believing it, that they are ugly money grabbers and whatever it is. And they have become self-hating.
So it's more of an issue that they're in denial, you would say, because they're self-hating and they don't want to accept the fact that there is a serious problem. There's a lot of people in the world that don't like Jews.
Yeah, because it's hard. Like, when in the book I wrote about the United States, and we were traveling, I went with my wife, Izzy, right there, and with people in cameras and all stuff. And we went from a temple to temple, And what do you hear in the temples? There are not that many people come to service, but the ones who come to service, and there are rabbis who are well paid in a Jewish rabbi. So in Yom Kippur, you have more people coming. And what is the rabbi speaking about? About the inequality and the suppression of rights of the state of Israel. About the occupying state of the Jews. So you have the Jews who preach against Israel, who say that the Jews of Israel are occupiers, are racist, are fascist. And that's what you have in the Jewish community, you have these things. So it's not a question of denial, or don't they deny the anti-Semitism. Some of them are the ones who spread the anti-Semitism. And many times I saw that if I try to dig deep into some anti-Semitic groups, various anti-Semitic groups in Europe and in America, at the back corner over there was a Jew standing. He was the one stirring the pot. So before we go and blame others, it's time that we take an honest, good look at ourselves.
Right.
So and this is a problem. We have a problem. Yes, people you see in the media, Hassidic Jews, mainly in the Torah or whatever, who come and demonstrated Zionism against this, against that. But those people, only Torah is 200. And the ones who go to demonstrate over there or go to pro-Iran or stuff like that, usually if you look at the pictures, you'll see it's basically the same 5 Jews.
Right.
Go with the same Hasidic clothes, it's the same 5 Jews who go from year to year. I met them, I talked to them.
Oh, wow.
I told them that I'm a Nazi, they loved me. But this is not a group, this is nothing. Doesn't represent really much. It's very small.
The Holocaust Now conference with Ahmadinejad in Iran. Those groups.
Yeah, those groups. They're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Even their communities, they laugh at them. It's like a joke.
Yeah.
It's like I live now in Masha, I live in Geula, You know, and I talk to the people, even the people here is like, oh, these are the Meshugoyim,
Right.
these are the idiots.
Yeah.
But in the other parts of Judaism, you know, like in the United States, for example, where the Reform and the Conservative are much bigger than the Orthodox, or when you go to their temples and you hear what they say about Israel, it's frightening.
Right.
You know, so they are spreading this kind. In the university levels, you know, you have Jews who are spreading hatred against Israel, against the fellow Jews, and presenting Jews as, again, you know, fascist, money grabbers, whatever you want. So we have to deal with it, but we have to admit it, first of all. So the people who are denial are not the Jews who don't see the anti-Semitism. The people who are denial is us, you and me, who refuse to admit that the biggest anti-Semites out there, or some of the biggest anti-Semites, are Jews like you and me.
And
That's a denial. And historically like this, historically like this, and it's not now like this too. I mean, this is the biggest problem that we have.
Because even Louis IX in France burned the Talmud because he had a Jewish assistant that said there are anti-Christian things in the Talmud. He burned the Talmud and they made him a saint.
I mean, look, you know, some of the, on the right parties in Israel, for example, they are very critical of President Obama.
Right.
Why does President Obama, why didn't he even care about anything that happens in the Middle East? And who was his teacher about the things, the reality of the Middle East? Who was his teacher? Well, he had two teachers, Rahm Emanuel and David Axelrod. You know, and without David Axelrod, Barack Obama would have never been a president.
Yeah.
He was his campaign manager, and he's a brilliant campaign manager, and he did a brilliant campaign. I followed it at the time, I was amazed how good he is. And that was not Barack Obama, that was David Axelrod. David Axelrod is very strong anti-Israel, you know, whatever it is. That's what it is. I mean, we are the ones who teach these people. We are the ones who, in many cases, not all cases of course, we are the ones who originate this kind of hatred against Jews.
So basically we have to look at the mirror many times.
We have to look at the mirror, and the mirror is very hard to look at.
Right.
You know, if you are nice and beautiful and handsome, you look at the mirror and say, hey. You look at the mirror all the time. If you are fat and ugly and shmekale bekale, it's like the mirror is your biggest enemy. So we have to look at the mirror, but for many of us it's very hard to look at the mirror, because the mirror says, here is a guy or a woman or a girl, you know, who is self-hating to the extreme. You know, it's like Roy Cohn, you know, the famous lawyer, you know, and in last century, as we say, it's not that much long ago, but in last century, you know, that was one of the biggest fighters against gays and against gay rights. You know, what was he? He was gay. In American, since we speak English, in American culture, we are familiar with a similar phenomena, which is called, you know, blacks making fun of themselves or anti-blacks, and we call them Uncle Tom.
Right.
So the phenomena of Uncle Tom. So you have also Uncle Moshe.
Right.
That's basically what it is.
Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports News Radio, also the Nation of Israel YouTube page. So I wanted to ask you, because very often you've gone undercover and exposed a lot of anti-Semitism that was out there. I want to know how you got that idea to do that. I know that there's the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen as the Borat character. He's done that, but he only seems to target right-wing groups, and you kind of will go talk to anyone.
So I'll correct you again.
Okay, go ahead.
Sacha Baron Cohen is not a journalist.
Right. Well, yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen is a movie maker, and his job is to make fun of everything in order to sell more movies. He's an actor. He's not a thinker.
Yeah.
So when you follow and you examine the way he does these things, he knows already what kind of answers he'll get from the people he wants to. So it doesn't look like, it doesn't take like a representative of opinions of what happens out there.
Okay.
And it's all full production. He manufactures like, you know, fake business cards. Sometimes he makes himself fake offices, you know, fake servants, fake daughter, fake. You know, it's like, and it comes with all this thing, and then it comes with all kinds of clothes, you know, all this kind of costume. It looks like, you know, it's fake this and fake that, and he calls himself whatever he is from Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, I don't know what, and he actually talks Hebrew. I mean,
Right.
he doesn't talk any other, it's like, he doesn't speak all this language, but he, the Azerbaijan and the Kazakhstan, he doesn't know anything about them,
Right.
but he presents himself as somebody who talks like in this language, and everything is arranged and organized, and everything is it's a full production in order to create a funny reality that he can sell as an actor, as a movie, as a filmmaker, whatever it is, a movie maker. For me, it's not like that. I come to people the way I come here, the way I'm here now. This is the way I come. I go with this one. This belongs to the grandmother of my wife. This belongs to the grandmother of my wife. This is Lakers. I like Lakers. This is German glasses, and the rest of it is nice belly, and my accent, which is God-given. Nobody can place me where I am. I can be maybe I'm Dutch, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. Usually I say I'm a German journalist, which I am.
Okay.
I am a German journalist, so it's not like I fake it. I just don't say I am Jewish.
Right.
So it's not like undercover. I just say, like when I was here in Israel, at that time nobody knew me here, I said, Toby. What is Toby? Toby is the short for Tobias, which is German for Tuvia. I did not go that far, so it's like Toby, and I say I'm a German journalist, and to the Arabs knew me as Toby min Almania. Toby from Germany. Yeah. Okay, perfect, it works perfect. So it's like I lied. I just didn't say I'm Jewish. Okay. I don't think that there's any journalist out there, and every time when people say to me, you did this, undercover, and you lied to the people, you lied about your identity. I say, excuse me, do you know any reporters in the Wall Street Journal or in New York Times or in the Washington Post who goes around to people and say, my name is John Smith and I'm a Christian?
Right, yeah,
it's like,
that.
Why should I say that I am a Jew? Why? I want to know why should I say that I am a Jew? If nobody else has to say who he is, I am, a Rachel Pucky and I am an atheist. Why? Nobody has to tell about his faith or about his culture or where he comes from. Only I have to do it. Why? Because if I say I'm from Germany or I'm a German journalist, then people feel more comfortable with me and they tell me all the mishigas and they have all the things that they think about. Oh, this is unfair. You are a liar. It's like, no, I did exactly, everything I do is covered, everything is a video, everything is, I wrote about so many people, I interviewed so many people. Some of them are prime ministers, some of them are people on the street, some of them are priests, some of them are prostitutes, whatever it is, rabbis, whatever you want. I interview all kinds of people, members of parliament. If anything that I wrote, I couldn't cover it with proof, I would be sued.
Right.
For millions and millions and millions of dollars for every book that's published under my name. Luckily, the people trust me when they are getting interviewed by me, and I'm happy about that. Because the reason why they trust me is partly the way I'm dressed, partly is my accent, and partly it is the fact that I like my interviewees. I always hook up into something in my interviewees that I like. It might be just a nose, and I go with it. And if you like a person, the other person starts feeling comfortable with you.
Right.
And I usually, not never, I usually don't go and say, I'm a journalist, I would like to talk to you. Usually I say, hey, how are you doing? I like your shirt. I like your smile. I like your fingers, you have special fingers. And then the other person smiles like you, because nobody has ever told him that, How many people said to you in your life, I like your fingers,
Yeah. It's pretty rare.
It's pretty rare, but it's nice. It's like, oh, that's nice. Really, you have nice fingers. He discovers that all of a sudden he has nice fingers. And then, the barrier falls and they feel comfortable and they tell me what they think. Sadly, most of the people I talk to in Europe and in the United States are anti-Semites. So they tell me what they think. They tell me exactly how they want to cook the Jew. How do you want to get rid of the Jew? Okay. I say whatever they tell me. It's all recorded.
Was there anything ever said to you that really surprised you, that you thought, oh, wow, that is even much more anti-Semitic than I thought was going to happen, expected?
I think I was most surprised in Britain because I did not expect Britain to be anti-Semitic.
Okay.
And I find Britain to be more anti-Semitic than any other country I've been to. And that was surprise, because what do the Brits have against Jews? What have we done to them? At least the Germans, okay, they might feel guilty, or they might feel uncomfortable, or they might feel whatever it is, because the history of the Jews, they are not that nice. They put living people into crematoriums, okay, they made shades out of them, it's like, I understand, whatever they made out of them. So maybe it's not comfortable, and because it's not comfortable, you hate the people who made you do it.
Right.
But Brits, what's your issue?
Are they back?
What's your problem? What?
Because of Israel?
No, they don't even know the history.
Okay.
I asked the young Brits, they don't even know Israel is on the map.
Okay.
They just know free Palestine. The only issue they care about in the world is Palestine.
Wow.
I was shocked to see 18-year-old, 20-year-olds, I really wish that Palestine would be free. Free. Excuse me, do you know what's the distance between Jerusalem and Palestine? Let me check it. They don't even know where Palestine is on the map. If I show them a map, I say, okay, point to the finger, where is Palestine? Sometimes I try just for the fun of it. Usually I don't do it. I walk on the street and say, hello, my name is Ahmed. I'm from Palestine. Would you like to talk to my brothers and sisters? And I point at the camera. Would you like to talk to my brothers and sisters of Palestine and tell them exactly what you feel? Yes, cool. Let me. Free Palestine. It's like, so you don't know about any other conflict in the world. Never heard of it, most of them. Only Palestinian, because the Jew is on the other side. So it's surprising. It's surprising to see white people, you meet them on your way when you get off the car that you rented, and they have a bracelet, and on the bracelet says Free Palestine. What is this? Are you out of your mind? There's nothing else in the world you can think of? Free Palestine. So when you see that, it's like shocking. It's like, I looked at I tried to call all kinds of organizations, Solidarity with Palestine, London Loves Palestine, whatever it is, whatever you call these organizations, and I expected them to be Palestinians. No, they're white people. No refugees, no nothing.
Are they into it because of the underdog aspect? Or what is your opinion?
No, underdog. I asked me, if you say it's underdog, what do you think about the Muslims in China?
Right.
Do you care about that? What do you think about the Chechens? They're also Muslims and suffered a lot. What do you think about, what do you think about the Kurds? They're also nice people. 50 million of them in the world. Do you care about them? No, never heard of it. So you don't even know.
So what about this issue, the issue of Israel-Palestine, that they're into it so much?
Because on the other side is a Jew. If I ask those people, for example, there used to be a place called Yarmouk in Syria. 10 years ago or so, there were 160,000 people there. Today, there are a bit 100 or 2 people, all the ones who cannot move. Everybody else was either raped, killed, murdered, thrown away, injured, whatever it is. Left, never to come back. 160,000 people in a few years. Do you know where Yarmouk is? Excuse me, sir. You care for Palestinians.
Right.
You don't even know where Yarmouk is? But they know Jenin. So what is it? That's a problem.
This is the anti-Semitism, the root of...
The root of this is anti-Semitism pure.
Another concept I want to ask you, something that's been very scary stat, is the amount of Holocaust denial. It's really gone up. Dr. David Duke and Dr. Mahmoud Abbas and these people with PhDs saying the Holocaust didn't happen. But even among Jews in America, they're starting to have questions. Do you think it'll get to a point, let's say 10 years from now, where they'll say, they're not sure it happened?
Look, you know what? Between you and me, I really don't care.
Okay.
Because what defines me is not that 90% of my family saw it happen, was murdered before I was born. But, I don't think that we Jews, and I'm very much against those Jews and Jewish organizations that keep on pushing the Holocaust thing. This is the victimhood thing. It's like the blacks all the time, over and over again. Slave, 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 slave. So they sit on the tuchas and do nothing. And the Jews, give me, because before I was born, give me a break. What is it like, you see in America, some Jews and some blacks are fighting with a bigger victim. As if this is like, who has the right to get the Olympian gold medal? You or me? It's like, hello, what? You know what? Drop it. As for people who deny the Holocaust, one of the top investigators of B'Tselem told me to my face, that the Holocaust never happened. It's a lie. And it's B'Tselem, this Jewish organization who hires Palestinians, to do research for them. So here is a top researcher for B'Tselem who tells me that the Holocaust didn't exist. So why should I believe in any report that he does, if he denies the Holocaust? But B'Tselem is a Jewish organization. B'Tselem is supported by the top of the intelligence of Israel. Look at the roster of names over there. Writers, professors, Ain and Aher, Jews. Who is financing this research? So they go around and they tell me all kinds of research, and one of the top researchers said the Holocaust never happened. It's a lie.
See, I don't know if the mainstream media talks about that B'Tselem has that in, say the Holocaust didn't happen. But like you said, victim conscious, you don't like that idea anyway.
For me, it doesn't help. It doesn't help anything. The first thing is, we should stop looking at ourselves as victims. As a victim, there is never a future. It's like, why? It's like I remember when I came to America a few decades ago, and I went to the Jewish studies section, and most of it was about the Holocaust.
Right.
I said, if this is Judaism, because the people are buying it, that's why they have it there. That's why Barnes & Noble had it there. You're talking about before e-books, before all that. If this is American Judaism, this will not sustain.
Right.
You cannot keep on generations on the fact that your parents and grandparents, were mercilessly murdered. It doesn't work like that. Even like you see it today, you go to Jordan, the Palestinians, or the ones who call themselves Palestinians, all the time say, I had such a beautiful house, and I am a victim, it's like a victim. And the Jordanians, Yalla haram, khalas. You're on our nerves.
Like, Yalla, move on.
Yalla, move on.
Right.
Talk, the Jordanians tell the Palestinians, it's like, don't talk, I don't want to see this guy as a Palestinian, and he's now start talking to me about the keys from the West Bank. Khalas, innit? Leave me alone. There is no respect. Do I, as a person, respect black Americans who keep on bragging, so to speak, or crying or kvetching about the slavery 100 years ago or 200 years ago? No. I say, get off your ass and move on. I say to others,
Yeah.
Enough with the slavery, khalas, move on. There are problems now, you feel, there is racism against now, talk about now.
Right.
Don't give me the things from the past. There is no country in the world that was established without killing the other tribes. So that's what it is.
Because it's interesting, I recall, for example, at the Munich Massacre in 1972, there's this famous broadcaster named Howard Cosell, and he was talking about, he said, I'm really proud to be Jewish. Like, he was trying to connect to that moment. Like, now he was going to be proud. Because before, he wasn't really into it so much. His real last name is Cohen. Yeah. But when the Munich Massacre happened, he's like, I'm very proud to be Jewish. But why now? So is there something where Jews are connected to these tragedies and they get pride out of it?
This is stupid. It's like if you're proud to be Jewish, I am proud to be Jewish, proud. I am happy to be Jewish. Yeah. I was born Jewish, it's also proud. I am very happy to be Jewish. I am happy to have this kind of culture that survived for so many years, the cultures that I love, the cultures that I admire. I'm not a religious Jew, but the various texts of Judaism along the hundreds and centuries is beautiful, is amazing. The Bible is amazing, the Talmud is amazing. I don't have to follow it this way or that way, but it's amazing books. It's brilliant books. There's tons of wisdom in it. And I am happy to have been born to this kind of culture. You know, I'm happy about this. That's enough.
Right.
That's enough. I admire the Jewish religion. Even though I might not be part of it, even though I was born by it. But I admire it. It's very abstract. You know, the Christians have a beautiful Jesus. You know, who looks like a Roman even though he was a Jew. You know, the Muslims have Muhammad. Looks like without a face, all the pictures without a face, beautiful donkeys and monkeys and all around him. It's like, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. What do the Jews have? How do you call the Jewish God? Hashem. What is Hashem? The name. What the heck is that? He has no name, practically. You know, I know some people believe the so-called Kabbalist that he has a name with 72 letters, and if you can say the name, then you can jump and you can be tall and skinny and fat, whatever. It depends how you say the name. And you say the name very loud. You can create for yourself a woman, a beautiful woman who never ages. You just say the name. I said, like, nobody knows the name. Nobody's sure. What is it? It's the name. How does God look? Nobody knows. Is God here, there? All over. Where? Here, right? Between the balatot. Where is God? In heaven. Where in heaven? On the seventh sky, on the seventh heaven. Is there 7 heavens? Really? It's like we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. You know, when God is asked, what is your name? What does God say? In the Bible. Yes. Yeah. I'll be what I'll be. What does it mean in English? In free translation, whatever. Whatever. What does it mean? I will be what I shall be. Okay, so you have all those Jews and the rabbis who make all kinds of interpretations that it means that they're aleph, that this letter or combine of this letter creates a number, so this number and unite with the other letter, it creates, and at the end of the day, just hit the kugel and shut up. And, you know, but what is God? Does he look? What size he is? What is he doing the rest of the time? It's like, you talk to God, you don't know his name. You call her, hello, the name. Right. Can you call your friend, hello, the name? Right. Hashem. That's what Hashem is. And then in the Bible itself, it says, You, Devavei Adonai, the Lord. Ah, really? What does it mean? We don't even know. We don't have Jesus. We don't have Muhammad. We don't have those things. It's amazing. It's so abstract. You know, and from the time the Jews know the God, the name, from the time the Jews know the names, they have been fighting them. And he has been fighting them. He called them, you are my most favorite people I have chosen, you are my chosen nations. And he sent them to Auschwitz. You know, he takes them out of Egypt, you know, and what does he do? They create another little calf, the golden calf. And it's a psychotic relationship. It's an ongoing relationship between the name and us. It's amazing. It's amazing. You are connected to him, and at the same time you don't even know if he exists. I mean, you keep doubting it. Because if you didn't doubt it, you'll find a name, for God's sake. No, we have no name. We have no son, we have no messenger.
Is that part of
except for the Chabadskers, they know everything.
We'll do an episode. We'll get their point of view on it. Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here on IsraelSportsNewsRadio.com, also on the Nation of Israel YouTube page. Well, you mentioned that aspect of us not having an intermediary person, like Jesus, Muhammad, etc. How much would you say that has affected our culture as far as, I don't want to offend anyone, but try to say that, do they have an easier way out? They can just rely on Jesus, the Christians rely on Muhammad, the Muslim, and we have to dig a little deeper. We don't have this in-between person.
But that's the whole idea of Judaism, that we don't have in-between persons. You know, all those people who follow rabbis or go to the graves of whatever it is, this is a new Meshigas, this is a new thing, no phenomenon.
You're not a fan of that?
Not at all. I mean, it's like, why should I go to a grave of some person to pray for him? It's like, it's crazy. It's against any comment. Sorry to disappoint you. You know, it's like kind of going to Miron or going to all these places. When I was a kid, ultra-Orthodox Jew, going to the graves was Avodah Zarah. It was like you know, Avodah Zarah means like idol worshipping. It's like, why do you go to the dead people to talk to them? It's like, hello, you can talk to God directly. Why do you need to go to a grave to talk to God? I mean, this is like amazing. We didn't have that. It makes the relationship much more intense. You know, it's a direct relationship. It's much more intense. It's the questions. You know, we keep questioning the God. The Torah is the one thing Judaism rejects more than anything. Is not a beautiful girl, according to some Hasidim think. Is to accept the certainties. That's what Judaism rejects. What's God's name? I don't know. And then when Moses asked God, can I see your face?
Right.
He says, no, you can see my back. What does it mean, my back? Agonish mitanish. They say, there's nothing. You can see nothing. You can't touch anything. You know, it's like a concept. But it's not a concept. It is a concept. It is this. It does that. This whole thing is like amazing. It's a unique relationship. It's a unique father-children relationship, you can say it, you know. But it's very unique. You can say in English, very unique, I know. It's unique. It's. You have to think about it. You have to be in it. You have to be in what we call spiritual existence in order to approach it. Because it's not approachable by any normal means. You can touch, you can smell, you can see. You can't feel in a normal feeling. You can't hear. You know, the people who hear God are usually in mental hospitals. You know, or making a lot of money from idiots who believe them as they hear God directly. What is this? This is an amazing relationship. It's an amazing, and from this concept or from this idea, from this reality or dream or whatever you want to call it, there was created an amazing amount of literature, you know, of books, of medrashim, you know, Bible and things. From all of this was created something amazing body of literature, thousands of books, you know, of discussions of what is it? What is it? This is an amazing thing. It's an amazing religion. It's an amazing way of life. This is more beautiful than anything that I know of other religions. It's gorgeous. It's like, what is it? You're never certain. You never know for sure. But you're always thinking. You're always in search. וידעת היום והשבות אל אדוני אלוהיך, it says in the Bible. First of all, know, gain knowledge and then come to God. You know? You can always say, I didn't gain enough knowledge to come to you, mister. I'm not there yet. It's an amazing kind of relationship. And that's what keeps Judaism. And that's why the Christian cannot accept it, because for them, I can touch God. It's a cross, it's an image, you know, something that they can feel in a human way. The Muslims can, many others, you know, there are some people who believe in the cow, you know, that there is like thousands of gods or a million of gods inside the cow. You can laugh at it, but it's much easier than Judaism. You see a cow and the cow moves. You know, you can touch it. You're not allowed to eat her, but you will not. The Jew doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. So the whole concept of Judaism is not real. And yet, because of our mind is so amazingly complex, at some point we connect to it. But we don't know how we connect with it. But we feel a connection. So I'm proud to be a member of that kind of philosophy, if you want to call it, or thinking, or feeling, or whatever you want to call it. Or call it X, the X factor. Whatever you want to call it. It's an amazing. So am I happy to be a Jew? Yes. There is enough to be proud or to be happy, whatever you want to call it, to be a Jew. And then going around, okay, my grandfather was, and this is up in crematorium in Auschwitz. How can you live like this all the time, you know, with Auschwitz, okay, you're not deny the Holocaust, deny the Holocaust. I deny whatever you want, I don't care. Why should I care about what you deny or not? Why should I care? Why should I care? If you come and kill me, I'll kill you first. This you should care.
Right.
If it's a danger, if people are danger, countries are danger to you, you have to fight back. You know, the whole Bible is full of fights. You know, that's what we should care, you know. But part of Judaism is never, you know, like, okay, you know.
Well, I think part of the I guess part of the reason why the Holocaust comes up a lot in terms of Israel is because the argument of we need Israel to make sure Holocaust doesn't happen again.
No. This is bullshit. I'm sorry if I'm allowed to say this word.
That's the first time we had a cuss word on this podcast, but go ahead, yes.
Okay. It's like, we don't need Israel for the Holocaust. We don't need that. I mean, look, let's say, Bibi Shmibi, whatever his name is, kept saying for 12 years whatever Iran is going to blow us up.
Right.
And we are going to blow them up before they blow us up. He never blew them up. He never did anything. He never even sent like a little mouse, to attack the Iranians. But okay, in theory, if there is a country like Pakistan, whatever, they want to throw an atomic bomb on Israel, well, they'll kill more Jews than anybody else killed. There are 7-8 million Jews here, So, we need Israel to help us now. We need Israel because the whole idea of the Jewish nation, which is based in the Bible, even if you don't believe the Bible, the whole idea, historically, is the land of Israel. That's part of Judaism. Judaism is not like some Chabadskers thing based in Miami Beach. No. Or in Brooklyn, New York. No. 770 Eastern Parkway means nothing. Williamsburg, Brooklyn means nothing to Judaism. Borough Park means nothing to Judaism. There are nice Jews there, but this is not part of Judaism. And all the Hasidim, here, for example, and not just Hasidim, Misnagdim also, call themselves after shtetls that no longer exist.
Right.
Gur, Bel, Shmelz. They are beautiful Jews. I mean, I'm not saying they have beautiful customs. I have nothing against them, but they keep on and on. And what are these names? What does Belz or Gur or Schmeckel and Beckel have to do with Judaism? Nothing. Zero. This is the place that sometimes Jews, usually unlearned Jews, used to live. And they were balagulas. They were, walking around with the donkeys. And walking very hard.
Well, so there are some interesting customs.
Milking cows. Yeah. Before we came to Israel, and we found that Ahmed can do it better than us. Yeah. And Muhammad and Mustafa. That's what it is. I mean, it's like, so what is it? That's what it is.
So here's a custom I'll bring up. I don't want to embarrass the sect that does this, but I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. That there's a sect that they lived in a place in Europe where the king would rape the wives of the Jewish men. So they came up with this idea of shaving their heads to look unattractive for the king. And then the sect kept up this custom even to this day. It's not so bad. Why does that happen? Because we're not in that place anymore. So why continue that sect?
I don't think that this is a very nice story that they shaved the women's hair because of the king and the shming and the bing. It's a very nice story because if that was really true, you would shave the girls' hairs too, not just the married ones. Why really it started to shaving the hand, like anything in Hasidic Judaism, which is part of what I come from, which I admire because it's a beautiful. I'm not insulting. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like we are still living in the galut, with diaspora, even in Israel. We have been so affected by anti-Semitism that why? Because some Rebbe somewhere, most likely in Eastern Europe, woke up one morning and he wanted to be a bigger and more holy Rebbe than the other ones so he can get more Chassidim. So he came up and he said, all women, married women must shave their heads. That's basically usually the way things start. And because this Rebbe did it, and then another Rebbe did it, and the third Rebbe decided not to do it because he found something else to do. Why should the Jew first of all put on the shoe on the right and then on the shoe on the left? And then he should not tie the shoe before. He first of all has to put the shoe on this side, first of all on this side and then on this side. Not tie it here, then do it here, and then tie it here and do it here. So white and the right and the left do not shame one another. This, you got to be an idiot to even think like this. I mean, what is this? This is Shulchan Aruch. We came up with all kinds of minogim, all kinds of traditions, because one Rebbe, one rabbi, came up with something because he had to do it. Otherwise, it didn't look good. Why do we need a Steimel? You tell me.
Straba, I assume, came from Europe, colder climate, into.
They have another story because one day the ruler, be it Tsar or somewhere in Hungary, I don't know, in Poland, ruled the Jews must put the tail of the cat on their head. So, in order for that remembering, they decided to put the tail of the sable on their head, from which a shtreimel came, because the shtreimel comes from the tail.
So
now, you tell me this is normal. This is what we are. It's pure. I love the shtreimels. I wish so many times that I would have a shtreimel. I would be a chassid, a Geren chassid, or a Breslever chassid, or a Breslever, I don't know what they were. Or it's like anyone. I love the shtreimel. I'm here in Jerusalem now, in the Haredi world. Friday night I walk and I see them with the golden things and I admire them. It's beautiful. It's like, if I were gay, I would be kissing every one of them. And they look gorgeous. It's like, really, I'm not kidding. If I were gay, I would have I think every gay should come to Meir Shorim on Shabbat. Tel Aviv should come, all the gays should come and stand in a corner and just, like you go on the street and just look at those amazingly looking, beautiful men,
with shidduchs.
Yeah, the shidduchs, yeah, it's really beautiful. That's what it is, but why? It's a custom, many customs we take from old days, and again, it's about us that because we have been beaten so much. When we try some or another way, to distinguish ourselves in a better way. So we took what this Rebbe said, what that Rebbe said, but the shaving of the woman's head, it's like, some Rebbe started at some point. Of course, they find something in the Bible or whatever it says. It says, Bereshis Borod, in the beginning God created the world. How could he create a world if the women were not shaved? From this we know that the woman has to be shaved. That's basically the logic.
So I guess I'm going to assume that you're not a big fan of kaparot, of people swinging chickens over their heads?
It's beautiful to watch it.
Okay.
I love to watch it.
You don't think the sins really go on the chicken?
Are you out of your mind? But it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to watch.
What about, you don't think Rebbe Nachman really goes into hell and pulls people out by their payot? You don't believe that? Or you do? Or?
Oh, God in heaven. Oh, God in heaven.
This is the RU show here on Israel Sports.
I know,
I don't know if this will end up on YouTube, but if it does, it's the Nation of Israel YouTube page.
Yeah.
Great discussion. So, what should we do with these customs, in your perspective? Meaning, if it's a little strange, do we keep it just out of tradition, right? Like Tuvia and what's the play? Help me out.
Oh, Milkman, yeah.
Tuvia the Milkman, right?
Yeah.
Fill on the roof, right? Tradition. So if the customs and traditions are a little strange, is it time to get rid of them, or time to appreciate from a different perspective? Maybe that's.
For me, I like to look at them.
Okay.
But of course, it's 99 degrees, and you're going with a fair hat, and one gown and coat over another, like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't do it, but I like to watch them.
Okay.
What should we do with all the tradition? It's like the fact of the matter is, the reality is, Judaism requires a lot of thinking.
Okay.
Judaism, you have to sweat for it to understand it. So humanity, or some of the Hassidic groups and the Misnagdish group, not just the Hassidic, found all kinds of ways, to make it easier. So you put a shtreimel and a spodik, or a kippah sruga. It's like, what is that? It's like you think Moses, the lawgiver, used to have a payas?
Probably not.
I promise you not. And you think he made them so round, so beautiful, all day long? No, if he did it, he wouldn't have time to save the Jews if he was busy. But it makes people feel comfortable, so okay, let them do that. But for me, I think that Judaism is much deeper than that.
Okay.
I think that Judaism is much more important than that. I think that Judaism is much more beautiful than that. And you can dress at Jabalia and be a perfect Jew. You don't have to be dressed with anything. You can be dressed like whatever you want. So.
But you shouldn't walk around naked, though. You're not saying that.
Adam and Eve walked naked, and they just said one leave. This is what God said. You need to leave. That's it.
Yeah.
And only because you are ashamed. Otherwise, God said, okay, be naked. So from godly perspective, according to the Bible, you can walk naked. So, but I'm not saying you should, but I'm saying from godly
You're making
perspective.
a rabbinic law right now.
Not the rabbinic
Wear clothes
from
outside of
you
this.
don't have to wear clothes. I mean, it's like you don't have to, but it's common, It's like okay,
Don't want to get arrested, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, but for example, with these, I'll say something a little, I don't know if this will be prejudiced or not, but the number one IQ in the world is Ashkenazi Jews. Is that because we're thinking all these different customs? Is that part of the idea?
I don't know if it's the Jewish IQ. I can tell you in confidence.
Well, let's keep watching.
Don't watch this. I think in confidence I can tell you that I personally met a lot of stupid Jews. You can go for a walk with me in Florida. I'll show you. There is a stupid Jew in every corner of every house, totally retarded, with no IQ. And they are Jews, they are kosher Jews, 1%, even by the most machmir, the biggest, rabbi in the world, they are kosher Jews. There are a lot, there are a lot of Jewish, a lot of stupid Jews in the world. Yet, that said, Jewish culture itself is teaching you a way of thinking that is very deep.
Right.
So if you follow in that tradition and you have the respect, and in Jewish culture, a lot of, emphasis is totally, always, not always, but more often given, for the brain to think. It's not like the Jews are smarter. It's, they have been taught, not all of them, actually only select few, I've been taught, that this is what you have to do. You have to go to university. You have to gain knowledge. You have to gain understanding. You see, to get a Nobel Prize, only part of it is genius. I am sure that at least 80% of it is a lot of sweat. You don't come up and wake up in the morning and then you find out how to cure cancer, or how to find a pill, it's a Jewish guy carry up with it, or any other things like that, or high-tech, or all this. A lot of it is sweat. A lot of it is willingness to go to the lab every day, to investigate. So education is very important to Jews, has been for a long time. So that's why by the end of the day, if you are more dedicated to it, and you are blessed also with the ability to conceptualize a thought, to conceptualize, to debate with yourself, to examine it, not to everything to touch it, to think in a level above, like Judaism dictates. So the combination of that and the sweat, so that creates a better mind, in order to end up with more chances to get a Nobel Prize. And that's basically what happened. If you look at the Nobel Prize winners, I have never made that research, but I would bet my last dollar on it that the majority of the children of those Nobel Prize winners did not get also a Nobel. It doesn't come by heritage. Because I am smart and my child is smart and my and most of them, their parents did not get a Nobel either. It doesn't happen like that. If it was just because of the Jewish brain, then you would get, your son get, and your grandfather get, and your grandmother and your granddaughter. It doesn't work like that as far as I know. So, yeah, it requires, and that's what it is. So, but the majority of people don't think like that. The majority of people still need the spodek or the steimel or the kippah soga or whatever it is, in order to live a Jewish life, what we call a Jewish life. It's the few of us who have decided to really engage in Judaism, and on top of that, to study either medicine or finance or whatever it is, and in combination, and not being lazy, they have become some of the biggest doctors in the world, some of the finest doctors in the world, and some of the finest financial minds. You know, there are a lot of Jewish financiers. Again, it doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from something. But it's not like, okay, this, because he is Jewish, he is smart. You know, 95% of the Jews are not any smarter than anyone else. It's the 5%, whatever it is, that makes it. Because they really connected, I think, with that kind of ideas, and plus respect for culture, respect for knowledge, respect for science, and philosophy, and thinking, all combinations. That's why you get more Jews doing this. You know, other than that, no. I mean, it doesn't work. I mean, if Jews were by the genes, you know, it will not be just Ashkenazic Jews, it will be also Sephardic Jews. I mean, it's like the source is the same of Sephardic Jews and Ashkenazic Jews, you know. I mean, go back hundreds of years, in the Jewish world, the Sephardic world was the most educated, and the Ashkenazi Jews were like the idiots of the streets. Things changed, you know, but it's history, it's, you know, but that's what the reality is. You know, so when you talk about, it's not because it's a Jew. I mean, it's like you are denying over 50% of the Jews in Israel, as far as I know, you know, are coming from Sephardic roots. And it's like, okay, 60% of you are idiots and only 40% of you are smart because you're Ashkenazi. I mean, you want to think it, I personally have no problem with this because I happen to be Ashkenazi. But if we are a Sephardi, I would have a big problem with this. So, but in terms of reality, I don't think it makes any sense. You know, I think, you know, it's not the Jewish brain. It's the dedication for study, the appreciation of study, the willingness to think above the nth dimension, outside of the nth dimension, you know, which requires a certain mind to do it, but you need to be training for that. That's when you can come up. What is finance? Finance is in the Weltrein, as I say in Yiddish. It's nothing that you can touch.
Right.
It's close to philosophy. You can touch it. How can you really know the third or the fifth step? I mean, how can you come up with hedge funds and all kinds of Michigassens that Jews came up with, or at least partly Jews came up with?
Schemes.
You know, and it's like all this kind of thing. How do you kind of, Ponzi is already an Altermeister. You know, it doesn't require the Jewish mind to be a Ponzi scheme is just to be a good ganav, a good thief. Yeah. It doesn't require, but you know, some of the biggest hedge funds, you know, which is totally legal, you know, it's the Jews are behind it, you know. Right. Many of the concept in financial concept, you know, many of those things were Jews. I mean, that's why they excel. That's why you have more Silberstein and Tenenbom or whatever it is, I don't know, in Wall Street than you have other things, you know, other people like Smith and Schmoger, you know, there is a reason for it. And the same thing in medicine, in the world of medicine, you know, it's like you really have to think, you know, because there are so many possibilities in medicine. How to cure this? How do you get to the idea of curing it? So all these things requires, you know, deep thinking. So you have to be trained. You have to train your brain. You know, it's like somebody who goes to the gym every day, you know, is going to be better in running and better in this and better in that. It's going to be a healthier body. I mean, a more sportive body. It takes a lot of sweat to be a good sports person. It also takes a lot of sweat to be a good scientist. You know, so the majority of the things that a scientist needs, beyond the brain obviously needs that, is the willingness to do it. And the Jew, for various reasons, you know, on one thing, the mind, you know, because if he's into that kind of thinking, the Jewish thinking, and the other thing is because for 2,000 years the Jews were like basically thrown from a place to place. So they didn't have a right, the Ashkenazic Jews didn't have a right for real estate, you know, could not stay, like in Hamburg, a Jew could stay only till sunset, for example, for many years. I mean, and they've been expelled from, so you have to take something with you. So either you take your diamonds with you, you know, so you have a little money when you come to another country, or you take your brain with you. So you can use the same brain if they throw you out of Poland or out of Germany into France or into Italy and then they throw you back. You always have something with you. So it can be the diamond and it can be the brain.
Well, it's part of the idea that, like you mentioned, you know, putting the right shoe and the left shoe and tying the shoe, going all through these little things, because the Talmud basically will address pretty much every issue that man has thought, at least up to this point. Is that part of the IQ and working and...
No, and if you know the Talmud, Okay, I'll tell you a story. There was one time a rabbi, Rosh Yeshiva, the head of Yeshiva, he was looking for the most brilliant guy from the yeshiva for his daughter. He turned up, by the end of the day, it was only 3. It so happened 2 were really brilliant, and the other one knew practically next to nothing. It is a miracle that he landed in the last 3. So the first one goes, they all sit in the rabbi's room is over there, the students are waiting here, and it's going to be decision, one of these 3 will be the husband of the rabbi's daughter. So the first one comes, big London, big scholar, huge scholar, and he comes, sits, the rabbi examines him, for 15 minutes. Then the rabbi says, thank you, you're a good guy, not for my daughter, get out. So he goes back to the other one. The other one comes, also a big London, he stays like 20 minutes. And then the rabbi says, you're also very good, but you are not for my daughter. Then the third one, who doesn't know much, comes, and after 3 minutes, he goes back to the room and says, I was accepted. I am going to be the husband of the rabbi's daughter. And the 2 of them look at him, Moshe, you practically know nothing compared to us. How did you make it? He said, every question he asked me, I know the answer to it. And every time I was right. The rabbi was amazed at my wide knowledge. He said, you had a question, answer to every question? Yeah, he said, everything he asked me. I said, it's a machloikes. It's a machloket. It's like, it's undecided. The rabbis argue about it. And that's Judaism. If you really open the Talmud, it's not about what you should do and what you should not do. It's a collection of rabbis, who practically didn't agree with the other on anything. It's page after page after page. Abaye said this, Rava says this, Bet Hillel says this, Bet Shammai says this. This says, Rabbi Papa and Pope, whatever you want to call it, Rabbi Tafon, Rabbi Shmika, Rabbi Biki. Everybody disagrees with the other one, and it's a great dispute. All the times they are disputing, and then it says Teiku. What is Teiku? Tishbi, Teretz, Koshiyot, Bayot, which means when the Messiah comes, we'll have the answer. Till then, we argue. We don't know. Brilliant. That's the Talmud. No agreement. We don't know. We have no clue. That's the beauty of the Talmud. Years and years later, came the Shulchan Aruch and this, and they made the rules, and they created a lot of Ben Shafidis. I'm sorry to say that. Just follow what's written. This is not a Talmud. This is not Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit is, we don't know. What's the answer? I don't know. That's a brilliant man. If you know, you are an idiot. So everybody who didn't know was a brilliant. That's the beauty of it. Is it day or night? I don't know. Is the heaven, the sky, blue or brown? I have no idea. It's in dispute. That's beautiful.
And that is going to be, as we talked earlier, a difference between the other religions, because the other religions are going to claim more certainty, right?
Of course, yes, they have. You go on to say Jesus, and it's going, okay, go to the Hajj, Khalas. You are Mr. Hajj. Hajj Eri.
So,
Hajj Tzvi. It's beautiful. Hajj Johnny. We are not Hajj, not Shmaz, and not Hajj, not Hajj, and not Shmaz, and not Shbaz.
Is therefore then that aspect a correlation to anti-Semitism? Because if they're so sure that they're right, and they're so sure that the Jews are wrong, and they have to hate the Jew, etc. Well, as you mentioned at the beginning of this episode, this podcast, there are Jews that are against Israel, so they're thinking maybe that's the right thing to do, and the Jews are for Israel. We have these different ways of expressing ourselves. Well, it's more concrete, the anti-Semitism. We know that we have certainty that we're right, and they're wrong, and we got to go after them.
This has nothing to do with what. Anti-Semitism is not logical. Okay. Like any source of racism, it's not logical. It's an emotional response. It's an emotional reaction. You have no idea how many times I interviewed Nazis or neo-Nazis or whatever it is. And they would tell me, I can smell a Jew 5 miles away. I can see a Jew. On the moment a Jew enters, I immediately know he's a Jew. And they tell it to me. It is no logic in it. Anti-Semitism has no logic. It started with something, with a dispute or whatever, but now it has no logic. They don't know. Most of the anti-Semites don't know Jews, never met a Jew. Like in one of the largest cities in Poland, Łódź, a million people live there, a million residents. And in between them, there are about 15 Jews. Not many, right?
Yeah.
And almost on every street corner, there is an anti-Semitic graffiti. Why? What do you want from the Jews? It's not logical. It's not based on logic. It's not based on anything. It's based on a stupid, I'm sorry, feeling. It's emotional. Comes from the fights of spiritual world, but it ended in an emotional, senseless world. That's what it is.
Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports and News Radio, also maybe on YouTube channel, the Nation of Israel YouTube channel. So I guess this is the question I want to end off with. Since anti-Semitism is not logical, how then can we cure it if that's even possible?
Very easy. First of all, not help it.
Not help it, okay.
No, we have been very busy helping it. We are very busy arguing. You cannot argue an anti-Semite. There is no argument. There is no convincing an anti-Semite not to be an anti-Semite. What you do is you can call spade a spade. You can say, you, mister, you are an anti-Semite, you are a drek, that's it. Chalas. Finished. You don't argue. You don't try to, Israel is not wrong when Israel did this or that. The Jews are not wrong. You have to understand. Let me explain to you, the whole thing of Palestine. There's no explanation needed, I'm sorry. And why are you in Israel? Because 3,000 years ago, God said to Abraham, you're idiots. You're idiots. You ask an American, why is he in America? Is he going to tell you because in the Bible something? You ask a Mormon, why is he in Utah? He's going to tell you that Moroni, God appeared to Joseph Smith and he told him not to be there. No, I live in Utah. I was born in Utah. Get out of here. You don't like it? I got a pistol. It's different. We have to be more normal. And not to be so impressed with the anti-Semites. To be afraid of them.
It's basically call the spade out, don't help them.
Yeah. And don't join them. Don't join them. Asbara is not going to work. Asbara is not going to work.
Sorry to all the organizations out there watching, but yeah, it doesn't. It's not helping as much as they get a lot of money.
I've never seen any Asbara organizations that knows how to do the job.
Right.
I've never seen it. So far, I've never seen it. I've attended many of these organizations. They don't know how to do it. Just be yourself. Just be the beautiful you. And don't dictate your life based on the other people think about you. Direct your life based on what you think is good or bad. And stop being so scared of the anti-Semites. It's like, okay, anti-Semites, you're an anti-Semite, you're a drake, and that's it. What are we going to talk about? Let's talk about something else. I don't want to talk about Palestine. You want to talk about Palestine? Find another idiot to do that.
Yes, our guest tonight does not hold back any words. Great evening. Yes, and here's the book, Catch the Jew, Tuvia Tenenbom. Where can they get this book? Anywhere on Amazon, anywhere online?
Amazon.com, they can get it also in bookstores, but depending where and what. But the fastest way, today, now, day and time, is Amazon.
All right. Love this cover here. See, there's the anti-Semites, right? And this Jewish guy, he's got a nice smile. He's leaving, and #1 bestseller of Israel. You can see it right here. And also literary sensation according to Haaretz, Geffen Publishing. So you can find it online. Great book, great guest. Thank you for being on. And
thank you for having me.
Yes, definitely nothing. I don't think we held anything back.
Not today. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, maybe. Okay.
Tomorrow I'll do that.
Yeah, this is not a censored episode, so I hope everybody appreciates that. And if you want a mainstream media that lies to you, so don't watch this episode. Go watch the different episode. But
thank you, ladies and gents.
yes, thank you everyone for
including all of you transgender. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Trans religion, transgender, trans Jews, and Jew trans, and females and males and males and females, and males who think they are females and females who think they are females, and transgender who think they are this, and everyone in between, whatever color you are, from the blackest of the black to the whitest of the whites. Thank you so much from the tallest of the tall, skinniest of the skinnies, and fattest of the fats.
This has been
Hello, it's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much. Please come more often. My telephone number, my private telephone number is, not today, so don't let me. Okay, have a wonderful time and say regards to my cousin in Facebook or whatever in YouTube.
This has been the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel Sports News Radio, the Nation of Israel YouTube page. God bless and good night.
Good night.